Don't be afraid of the dark. Just relax and let the darkness fall over you.
Welcome to Afraidish, a podcast where each month / every 4 episodes, we venture into a new state and take a deep dive into the paranormal and unexplained while enjoying some tasty adult beverages. From ghost sightings to hauntings, urban legends and cryptids, let's get weird and afraid-ish together. Hello and welcome to About Damn Time episode 7. I'm Paul Branham.
And I'm Ashley Branham.
And, sorry it's late. It should have been out last Sunday.
Life
happens, and we've been trying to get our gardens in and yard work, and
that shit sucks so bad.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, between work and everything else.
Household responsibilities.
Yeah.
Children. Shopping for plants.
Yeah. So what have we been up to besides that? We went out on an anniversary date.
We did.
That was really good. Really fun.
Yeah, it was. We tried 2 places we'd never been before. There is a Japanese restaurant near us. They specialize in ramen, which in this area of the country, when you say ramen, people automatically assume that you're talking about the Macharon top ramen that you cook on your hot plate in your dorm room or in your microwave.
Yeah.
So having a ramen restaurant in town is kind of a big deal.
Yeah, it was so good. Between the sushi and the ramen.
It was so good. And the cocktail. The cocktail was the best. Everything was amazing, but that cocktail, I had a sake cocktail. It's called Geisha Lips at the restaurant. I tried Googling for similar recipes. It was raspberry and sake, and it was
so good.
Amazing. So good.
And I had a pomegranate margarita.
Something like that, yeah.
That was really good.
Which was unusual for you because you normally don't go for the frou-frou drinks. You normally go for the what's on tap.
Yeah. I like a good margarita, though.
You do. You've been drinking a lot of margaritas when we go get Mexican, too.
Yeah. The green iguana margarita from... Hershey is whining and chewing on a bone, so sorry if that's in the background.
Who is Hershey?
Oh, Hershey is our dog.
Yes, our dog, Hershey.
Our dog, Hershey, is chewing on a bone. He is a just over 1-year-old
he's a mutt.
Black and tan
coonhound. He's a mutt.
Yeah.
But boy, oh boy, that boy can jump.
Oh my gosh.
God. Anyway, yes, the green iguana margaritas at the... Did you stop it? Oh.
No.
Yes, the green iguana margaritas at our regular Mexican spot are...
So good.
Primo. But speaking of cocktails, we normally don't have alcoholic beverages when we do this podcast, but tonight I decided to make myself a cocktail. Well, you have like beer. Yeah. I normally don't drink any. Like it's not like we're doing anything fancy.
Yeah.
As you imply in your opener, while enjoying some tasty adult beverages. So anyway, I made myself a cocktail. This is going to sound really Lululemon mom, but we have a wild strawberry. Well, not. It's a strawberry patch that's gone wild because I've neglected it in our yard, and I made some strawberry jam and strawberry syrup, and then I have some basil plants growing outside, so I picked some of those, muddled the leaves, took some vodka, the jam, and the simple syrup that I made, and made myself a little, and lemon juice, a little cocktail.
And it does taste really good.
Super tasty. So
I'm just drinking my regular Michelob Ultra infusions
With the prickly pear cactus.
Yeah, prickly pear cactus. I normally buy the 12-pack Make Ultra variety pack. Comes with the gold, the
pomegranate or whatever.
Something. And my favorite.
Normally when we do the podcast, though, you try to have a local beer. Did you not have one in the fridge?
I do. I just didn't feel like getting up.
Anyway, so after that's kind of the segue to back on track, talking about our date night. After the Japanese restaurant, we went to a local brewery here in town, one that has been featured many times on the podcast. Great Escape Beer Works.
Yes.
And Paul had some canoe beer.
It's their summer
camp beer.
Yeah, it's their summer brew. It's like it's called Lake Beer American Lime Lager, and that is so good. I also tried the Weekend Warrior, which is a dry hopped blonde, and that was pretty good too.
And yeah, you normally don't like the lighter beers, the blondes and the pales.
No,
and the...
I like the blondes. I'm not a fan of the ales, the pale ales. Okay.
It's all the same to me. I don't love beer. Like, it's fine. Sometimes it's refreshing, but it's not my go-to alcoholic beverage. In fact, alcohol's not my go-to thing anymore.
Yeah.
Thank you. Something else.
Oh, yeah, and you had a blackberry hard cider.
Yeah, something like that.
It was good.
It was really good.
So, today I have a few urban legends from Tennessee.
Okay.
And I have 5 more fun facts about Tennessee.
Okay.
Number 1, Tennessee farmers produce 323 million eggs per year.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Woof. I can't imagine.
Number 2, Tennessee has more species of trees than any other state.
Aww.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Number 3, Ernest Holmes of Chattanooga invented the tow truck in 1916. This place also has the world's largest tow truck factory. The town has the International Towing and Recovery Hall of Fame Museum to preserve its history and honor its champions.
There's a tow truck museum?
Yeah.
Well, let's go right now.
Yeah. It's got to be somewhere.
There's a fucking museum for everything.
Literally everything.
Everything. Multiple times over.
Number 4. While she was still a student at Tennessee State University, Oprah Winfrey got her start as the first female African-American news anchor at Nashville's WLAC-TV.
Oh, okay.
That's pretty awesome. And finally, number 5. The 2 states with the most state borders are Tennessee and Missouri, which is one of the 8 states Tennessee touches. The other 7 are Kentucky, Virginia, North Carolina, Arkansas, Georgia, Mississippi, and Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think after Tennessee, we'll get into another state that touches Missouri, and then work out from there. I think that seems to be a pretty good idea.
I suppose.
I mean, we could do a poll and see where our listeners want to go.
Oh, look, they all voted for Michigan.
Yeah.
It's basically 2 states. You could talk about the trolls under the bridge, and you can talk about the Yoopers in the Upper Peninsula. Everybody has their own stories and tales.
Screw Michigan. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Did you hear that, Mom?
I'm joking. It's a joke. All right. Now, I know a lot of urban legends have been debunked, but I love to hear about them. So, in saying that, here are 3 urban legends from Tennessee.
Okay.
The first one is called Skinned Tom.
Oh, sounds like a lovely fella.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Fuck.
So, Well, we just got interrupted. I had a YouTube video pause. I like to watch YouTube, like spiritual stuff, historical sewing content, gardening, you name it. I watch it, whatever. But I had a video paused on the TV, and it started playing in the middle of Paul's introduction to Skinned Tom. So that's cozy feeling.
Oh, yeah.
Is he here? Is this going to be like those demons that skin people alive in that one episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer?
Oh, no, it's not about a demon. Just wait and listen.
I'm just saying.
All right.
So excited.
Here are some urban legends around Tennessee. Could they be real? Could they be campfire stories? Or are they just campus tales? Now here's a twisted tale about a young man in rural Tennessee named Tom. Tom was a very strapping sophomore in college. He had been on dates with half the women there. From the incoming freshman girls to the outgoing senior women. All the girls want him, and he's friends with most of the guys. From nerds to jocks, Tom is just a friendly guy.
This gives feels of like 1950s Americana horror.
Yeah. Tom loves to go on dates. He's slept with all the girls he's dated, but is never satisfied. One night, Tom and some friends decide to take a trip to the next town over to check out some parties. After a long night of partying, they decide to stop by one last party. Across the room, Tom spots the most beautiful woman he's ever seen. He goes up to her and starts with some small talk. After a couple of hours of talking with her, he asked for her number, and she gives it to him. She says there's one issue. She's married. Tom was like, I can get down with that. He would enjoy the excitement of sneaking around. He managed to get a long kiss goodnight. He and his friends then leave. Tom calls the number he got from the beautiful woman and gets a date for that night. The date goes so well, they see each other every night after that. Because they are in a small rural town, their secret fling wasn't so secret with all the gossip gals around town. Well...
Gossip gals.
Gossip gals.
That was like a radio show.
Well, her husband got word of the affair. He tells his wife he's leaving for a weekend work trip. Instead, he packs and hides in the woods behind their house. That's not good. That night, they were parked at the local Lover's Lane. They were getting hot and heavy, and the windows were getting steamy. All of a sudden, the car door flew open, and the woman screamed, "It's my husband! He must have followed us!" "That's right, you cheating bitch," her husband yelled, "and I'm about to teach your ass a lesson." He pulled her off Tom, thrust the hunting knife into her stomach, and threw her to the ground. Then he looked at Tom with a maniacal grin. "Please don't hurt me," Tom cried. "I swear I didn't know she was married." The man then dragged Tom out of the car. "Please don't kill me," Tom cried. The husband laughed out loud and said, "I'm not going to kill you. I have something far worse in mind." Then the man dragged Tom into the dark woods. The woman was left bleeding and trembling, leaning against the car. She cried harder with every blood-curdling scream Tom made that came from the darkness of the woods. Her husband eventually came out of the woods, covered in blood. He got into his car and drove to the police station and turned himself in. When the police got to the scene the next morning, they found the woman still alive. When they searched the woods, they couldn't find Tom anywhere. Instead, they made a horrifying discovery. The man didn't kill Tom. He skinned him alive and hung his skin from a tree branch.
Yeah.
The husband was so careful and precise when he skinned Tom that he was still alive after the horrifying ordeal. They searched the whole area for Tom with no luck. They say Tom hangs around Lover's Lane, waiting for cheaters to teach them a lesson with the same hunting knife he was skinned with. Once a handsome, strapping young man, he is now a bloody skeleton creeping in the shadows of the tree line, clutching the hunting knife in his bony hand. All the teens and college kids are told to stay away from Lover's Lane, or else they'll be Skin Tom's next victim. If you encountered Skin Tom, would it make you afraid-ish?
I mean, In a hypothetical fairy tale situation where a person could survive after being skinned, sure.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's an urban legend.
No, I know. I'm not trying to like poo-poo on the spooky
it's basically
party.
to keep kids away from these lovers lane areas and.
But I love urban legends and like folk tales and shit, like from a anthropology, not the store, standpoint. It's fascinating, the things that people pass on and that become lore. Yeah.
You ready for my next one?
Yes.
This is called The Legend of Werewolf Springs.
Okay.
This one's a little bit longer.
Okay.
The legend of Werewolf Springs begins with a circus train passing through Dickson County in the late 1860s.
Everything that begins with a Victorian circus is going to be good.
Yeah.
Those people were horrible.
Yes. The train derailed near the community of Burns, southeast of Dickson, and some of the animals escaped. Among the escapees were a pair of half-human, half-wolf creatures who were exhibited under the moniker the Wolfmen of Borneo. Circus employees caught all the other escaped animals, though the Wolfmen were nowhere to be found, of course. Two locals traveling on a nearby road, where modern State Route 47 now runs through Burns to White Bluff, found themselves being stalked by a large creature. The two men, a local landowner and a hired hand, attempted to outrun the creature, but it caught up with them, and the duo split up and fled into the forest. The creature pursued the hired hand, and the landowner was shocked to hear the man's screams and cries as he was presumably torn apart. The hired hand's body was never located. A mob of locals formed from nearby farms and towns to bring justice to this dreadful creature. Near the springs where the duo had encountered the beast, the mob led a live goat to a clearing where it was tied to bait the monster. Extinguishing
You alright, dude?
Extinguishing their torches and lanterns, the posse waited with bated breath for the hungry creature to make its appearance. The prowling creature eventually appeared. The group opened fire, then quickly lit their torches and lanterns to see if they had bagged their quarry. The clearing was empty. The creature, goat, and two members of the posse had vanished into the thick night air. With terror, the group dispersed, fearing to pursue the mysterious creature any further. Later, a big game hunter attempted to kill the creature of Wolfman Springs, setting himself up in a nearby cabin. He slept soundly the first 2 nights, but he heard howling in the distance on the 3rd night. A short time later, the frightened hunter began to hear the creature outside his cabin. When it appeared to pass by one of the windows, he aimed and fired. The gunshots only served to rile the creature's wrath, and it broke down the door. The hunter fired all but 2 rounds at the hairy creature, but it only seemed to anger more with every shot. With only 2 rounds left in the chamber, dawn arrived, and the light from the rising sun caused the creature to flee into the shadows of the forest. Wolfman Springs is actually Hall Springs, located in one of the areas of Montgomery Bell State Park that is only accessible by a hike. The springs are named for the Hall family who had a homestead near the springs. The family's home is long gone, but a small family cemetery remains nearby. There was a descendant of the Hall family who grew up near the infamous springs. She denied that she ever heard anyone speak of a mysterious creature in the area. The land the park now occupies was purchased by a National Park Service in 1935 to develop the Montgomery Bell National Recreation Demonstration Area. The park's namesake is local manufacturing entrepreneur Montgomery Bell, who was instrumental in building the local iron smelting industry. Even he has been pulled into the Wolfman legend. Some tellers of the story feature Mr. Bell as the local landowner, though this would be impossible as he passed away before the Civil War. The railroad tracks where the train derailed still run their original course along the park's southern edge. Several train derailments were on this stretch of line, though none specifically involved a circus train. Would you be afraidish if you encountered a werewolf creature?
Yeah.
I mean, I would. Even seeing a bear, even if it was just like people seeing a bear thinking it was like a werewolf or something like that.
Yeah. Like werewolves are scary.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like when I think werewolves, Twilight just makes everything so fucking ridiculously stupid.
Those movies and books ruined like
Everything.
vampires and werewolves.
So like when I hear talk about werewolves, I just laugh. I'm like, oh. But like if you really think about the like Romanian and Eastern European myths and stuff about werewolves, they're not something to be trifled with.
Yeah, vampires don't sparkle in the sunlight.
Ugh.
Anyways.
Middle-aged horny women and their stupid imaginations.
Yeah. And my final story is the White Bluff Screamer.
Ooh. Porn?
Well, close. In the 1920s, a young family moved into the holler at White Bluff, building a home for themselves in their little paradise. The father, mother, and 7 children.
Back then, you needed that many kids in order to be able to run a farm.
Anyways, they seemed quite happy together until nights descended and they began to hear ear-shattering screams from the forest. Every night, as the darkness descended, the screams would begin again, driving the family to desperation. One night, the father snapped. He had enough. He grabbed his rifle and ran into the forest to see where these unearthly screams were coming from, only to stop dead in his tracks when he realized they were now coming from his home. He ran back to find his entire family brutally murdered, their bodies torn to pieces. And in some versions of the story, he saw the vision of a woman wrapped in white mist inside the home who let out a piercing shriek once more before vanishing as if she'd never been there. According
a banshee?
According to locals, the screams can still be heard to this day in White Bluff, Tennessee. Some locals believe it's a banshee. Others aren't so sure, but they all believe something is out there. If you heard screams surrounding your home, would it make you afraid-ish?
Yeah.
Yeah, would be?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Given the time period and the location to which they migrated to, it's safe to say that they were probably Scots-Irish family.
Yeah, probably.
So they would have been more familiar with the banshee situation, but given the location, Native American curse, and I know like every white person's like, Native American curse, but like there's like on the Navajo Nation, you don't whistle after dark.
What is that?
I don't remember the name of maybe it's the Night Whistlers. I'm not sure.
No, it's
but if you whistle after dark, it alerts any actual predators in the area that you're out there. And B, there's a superstition that there's I don't want to use the word monster, but like a monster demon thing that'll get you. I don't remember what it's called, and I'm trying to Google.
Maybe it's a shapeshifter.
Something like that. I Googled it, and it says superstitions relating to whistling has been common across cultures. Do it indoors to bring on poverty. I gotta stop whistling in the house.
Yeah.
Do it at night to attract bad luck, bad things, evil spirits. Transcendental whistling would summon supernatural beings, wild animals, and impact the weather. Ooh, I'm gonna have to get down with some transcendental whistling. Bring on some rain. Yes, outside. And not at night.
Yeah. Oh. Anyways, those are my 3 urban legends.
Okay. So I guess it's my turn, huh?
Yes.
Okay. So, when researching this location, I know in high school, my English teacher always said Wikipedia is not a resource. I think now, in this day and age, while Wikipedia is not the be-all, end-all, it is usually credited as a somewhat trustworthy resource.
Yeah.
So I tend to defer to the Wikipedia page because it's usually going to be more accurate. It's not hard to Google things, and Wikipedia is usually the first search result that comes up. So I say all that to say that when information that is so easily available on Wikipedia pages is omitted out of supposed research, one takes note. At least this one does. Being the informational black hole that I am. I just absorb information all the time.
Yeah, you do.
I know when somebody's well-researched and when somebody's not. And when researching this location, I got this idea when I was thinking of locations that I wanted to do next. I didn't want to do another house in Franklin, another plantation, slave owner kind of situation. So I was like, what are some places that I've been to in and around Nashville? Because that's the only place in Tennessee that I've been. Well, there's the cave, the Mammoth Cave.
Yeah.
Mental note. Anyway,
just a reminder, we do have one more episode for Tennessee.
I think that's in Tennessee, but it could also be in Kentucky. Now I'm second guessing myself. I went to it when I was like 8 years old. Okay, don't judge me. Anyway, so this particular location I started researching because I've been there. It's fucking incredible, like unbelievable that this place exists. It's insane. And it's beautiful. And I always felt, I've been there twice in my lifetime. I both times felt like there was like energy there. So anyway, this particular location, I haven't said the name of it because I'm trying to build suspense, but I don't think it's working. So is now goes by the name the Gaylord Opryland Resort and Convention Center. But you probably will recognize it as the Opryland Hotel. Which is
gorgeous, by the way.
Yes, says the guy who's never been there.
No, I've seen the pictures.
I know. But you really, from the pictures, you cannot get, there's no perspective.
I get it.
Yeah. So the original Opryland Hotel opened on Thanksgiving Day in 1977. It was built in order to assist the recently opened Opryland USA amusement park and the Grand Ole Opry. So the Grand Ole Opry, and then they built the Opryland amusement park, and then they built the hotel as like this conglomerate. Anyway, so if you don't know what the Grand Ole Opry, it's a Nashville musical like institution. It ain't going nowhere. That had just moved to the area 3 years before the Opryland Hotel was built. At the time that it was built, the original hotel had 580 guest rooms and a ballroom. The lobby is called the Magnolia Lobby. It was designed to resemble a grand southern mansion with an impressive staircase and a Tiffany-style chandelier.
Nice.
Not a Tiffany chandelier. Tiffany style. In 1983, they began work on the first expansion of the hotel, where they added over 400 guest rooms.
Holy shit.
And they added facilities like conference rooms, meeting rooms, things like that, because they were having a lot of demand for this new convention style situation that was happening. Where am I? Oh. A grand conservatory resembling a Victorian garden was added. This atrium maintained a consistent 71 degrees Fahrenheit and housed more than 10,000 plants.
Jeez. That's a lot.
Yes. I don't know if this atrium still exists. We'll get to that.
Okay.
In 1988, 797 additional guest rooms were added to the hotel.
Damn.
In a 2-acre expansion with the 797 guest rooms, another atrium called the Cascades Atrium includes a 3.5-story waterfall and more than 8,000 tropical plants.
Shit.
The addition of the Cascades lobby expanded the ability to check in 24 guests at a time that could check in. That included 24 additional check-in stations that could check in 580 guests per hour.
Holy cow.
That's how, busy this hotel was. If you took a vacation in the 1980s, you were going to Hawaii or Nashville.
Damn.
In 1996, an additional 4.5 acres were added to the hotel, adding approximately 1,000 guest rooms, 10 meeting rooms, 289,000 square foot exhibit hall.
Holy cow.
And a 57,000 square foot ballroom.
God damn.
The trademark feature, according to the Wikipedia article, was the Delta Atrium, which included a 1/4-mile long indoor river and is Cajun themed.
A river.
Down on the bayou, So that's what I mean when I don't know that the original atrium still exists, because I don't know if they added 3 different atriums, there's 3 different atriums existing on the hotel, or if they took out one and built the other, and so on and so on. I don't and I couldn't find. It's hard.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of information available. So if you live in Nashville and this is obvious, I'm very sorry. I'm going off of my memory as an 8-year-old and then 15-year-old, so it's fuzzy.
If you know the answer to that,
don't at me. I'm not on Twitter, so
afraidishpodcast@gmail.com.
I'm gonna get, not that anybody listens, but I'm gonna get so much hate for that from all the Nashvillians. I can't believe you. Anyway, it's hard to tell. From the pictures, I would surmise that there are at least 2 separate atriums, if not 3. But without being there, it's really, again, it's hard to get perspective. So.
Yeah.
Anyway. Anyway, back to the, what did I say? How long is it? 1/4-mile long indoor river. You can take a boat ride in the river on a flatboat.
That's crazy.
You can go past the water feature that includes jets that are choreographed to music. When the expansion was christened, water samples from more than 1,700 rivers throughout the world, including every registered river in the United States, were poured into the Delta River so they used real rivers from around the world.
That's insane.
To add water to that river. There's a steakhouse inside the atrium that's built to resemble an antebellum-style mansion.
Yes, please.
I mean, steak, sure.
Yeah.
In 2001, the Opryland Hotel was rebranded as the Gaylord Opryland Resort and Convention Center, or Gaylord Opryland for short. taking its name from its corporate parent. The who's who of the company said that the Opryland branding was strong to Nashville, but did not fit with projects in other parts of the United States. So, corporate was like, this is too unique. We want it to be more like every hotel. Sound like every hotel in the world, because just like the post office, corporate knows best.
Right.
Anyway. On May 2nd, 2010, a flood devastated Nashville. I vaguely remember a flood. I was going through my very first breakup ever, so I was, probably not paying too much attention to the news at the time. The water in the hotel in some areas was as high as 10 feet.
Damn.
It took several months to renovate and repair. The hotel reopened in November of 2010. All right. Oh, on January 19th, 2012, the Gaylord Entertainment announced a new partnership with Dolly Parton's The Dollywood Company to build a new a new water and seasonal snow park on acreage the company owns across from Gaylord Opryland Hotel. So, Dolly Parton. In September of 2012, Dolly Parton decided to withdraw her partnership in the new Nashville-themed park. So, interesting. If Dolly doesn't want it, I don't want it. So, that brings me to when researching whether the Opryland Hotel was haunted. Some people say that it is. A lot of people have had experiences waking up to a woman in black standing over them while they're sleeping, etc., etc. Generic hotel haunting shit.
Yeah.
I was reading an article that you could tell they didn't research, because they said that the Opryland Hotel was built on land owned by Randall McGavick. And Randall McGavick did own a shit ton of land. So I don't know if he owned land that far up into Nashville, because Franklin is on like the...
Remind me what he owned.
Carnton Plantation.
Okay, there we go.
So sorry. Yes. So Randall McGavick, as we talked about in episode 1 of Nashville, built
Tennessee.
Carnton Plantation. Huh?
Episode 1 of Tennessee.
Of Tennessee. Whatever. I'm sorry. Anywho. Randall McGavick was the guy that built Carnton Plantation. And it is entirely possible that he could have owned land up that way. He owned a lot of land. But if you look at it on a map, Franklin and Carnton is down like on the southwest part of Nashville, whereas the Gaylord Opryland Hotel and Convention Center is on the far northeast side. So southwest to northeast, it's about a 30-ish minute drive, and it would take about 12 hours to walk there. So
Are you sure it's only 30 minutes?
It's like 31, depending on traffic.
Okay.
Something like that. I don't know. That's assuming, like, if you're going on the highways and shit, that's today's time.
Yeah.
That's not in, like, a horse-drawn buggy. Okay? But I just said it would take about 12 hours to walk from Carnton Plantation to the Opryland Hotel and Convention Center. So, anyway, it's entirely possible that this was land that was owned and farmed by the McGavicks, but it doesn't make sense that either of the McGavicks' wives would be up in that part of their property. I would assume it's being so far away from the manor home, they would have no interest going over there. Like, they're in charge of the home, not the field hands kind of situation. So people say that, and this is where I get like, you didn't fucking research. You skimmed that Wikipedia article here, honey. Randall McGavick's wife, the woman in black, haunts the Gaylord Opryland Hotel and Convention Center. I could only assume that when they speak about a woman in black in Tennessee, you're referring to Carrie McGavick, who was not Randall McGavick's wife. But if all you read is the name Randall McGavick, and then you skim down to the end of the article and you read Carrie McGavick, you might assume that they were married. They were not. She was his daughter-in-law. His wife's name, I believe, was Sarah?
I don't remember.
Anyway. But again, it is possible that was land that was owned by the McGavicks. It doesn't make sense that either of the wives would be up there. So, yeah. I mean, it's probably not, definitely not Carrie McGavick.
Yeah.
Probably not Randall's wife either. But anyway, it's a hotel. Hotels are always haunted. It's probably haunted.
Yeah.
I know that that's not like the most interesting, scary story or anything, but like, this is why I spent so long researching this, because I was trying to substantiate any iota of an idea that a McGavick woman would be haunting the hotel. And it's no. Most definitely not. Like, neither of them would have any ties to that land or that property or anything. Carrie would definitely, she only cared about the house and the cemetery at the end of her life. Like, that was it.
Anyways, good job.
I know, it's like so lazily researched, but it wasn't lazily researched because I spent so much time just finding nothing. I was finding bullshit on top of bullshit.
Well, I think next and final episode of Tennessee, I believe you are going to do a place that is the original location of the Grand Ole Opry.
The Ryman Auditorium. Yes. And
that's where they originally recorded the Grand Ole Opry radio show.
Yes.
And that is way more haunted. Trust me, I've read a little bit about it. That's why I want you to do that. It's way more haunted, supposedly.
Yeah. I mean, I'll look into it. I also want to look into, I want to find out if the Mammoth Caves are even in Tennessee or if I'm completely making that up. I feel like they are.
Who knows? You might have two stories next week.
Perhaps.
Or not next week, but...
Well, and then if they're haunted, which they're a cave, they probably will be haunted because, like, caves.
Yeah. Anyways, also check out Instagram and Facebook. I actually went to Phelps Grove Park, which I did in episode 2. Yes.
Yeah.
It was during the daylight in the middle of the heat, and I took pictures of the two bridges because I wasn't sure which bridge was actually haunted. People have graffitied underneath the bridge, but it looks like it was like half-ass painted over.
Yeah.
Under both the bridges. So, one night I would love to like go down there at night and take some pictures, but it'd have to be before 11, so I don't, get in trouble by the cops.
Right. Because you're such a hooligan.
I don't know. Anyways. Pictures are on Facebook and Instagram at afraidishpodcast. And if you have any stories or requests of anything you want to hear about, or if you know anyone who does, please email us at afraidishpodcast@gmail.com, Instagram and Facebook at afraidishpodcast, and Twitter at afraid_ish. All the links will be in the show notes. Also, please rate and review. I've got 7 reviews, or basically 6 reviews and 1 just rating.
We don't need another review rant, sir.
I know, but I get a few listeners and only 7 people rated.
Okay.
But I understand.
But the most important ones left reviews.
Yeah.
lovely reviews.
Thanks, guys, who have reviewed.
Yes, thanks.
And if you guys want to hear, like, or pick whatever state you want us to do next, just email or add us on the social media. Got anything else?
No.
All right.
I mean, probably, but no. What do you want me to talk about?
I don't know.
No.
Anyways, I want to shout out to the peeps at work. Thanks for listening, guys. I appreciate you guys. And I love you guys. You probably don't love me.
Don't make it weird.
I like making stuff weird.
I know. Well,
Anyways.
your friends at work already made it weird, so.
They are weird. So, well, as always, don't be afraid of the dark.
Be afraid-ish of what's in it.
All right, bye.
Bye!